Hello.
Hello, friends. We're back.
Did you miss us?
We missed you. It's Wanda and Tammy. Tammy and Wanda.
The Tammy and Wanda Show. We really need a jingle.
We do. We do. We need to think of that.
I don't know. It's got to be something really lame though, like da 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 da.
I know. It needs, like, what comes to mind is like a, 60s sitcom
Yes.
jingle. Just
I
kind
love
of like
this idea.
Bewitched.
I love this idea.
Well, you guys are in store for a short part one.
Of 2 parts, maybe 3. I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about House of the Dragon,
Hey, like right back here. Right back
just like
here.
our poster. Woo! All right.
For
So
our viewers / listeners.
a big show for HBO Max, I might add.
Yeah, since Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So I heard a rumor recently that Emilia Clarke, who played Daenerys Targaryen in the original Game of Thrones series, has yet to watch it because she said it feels a lot like going back to a high school you haven't gone to for 10 years and not knowing anybody that still goes there and only a few of the teachers.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a part of a really like award-winning show like GOT,
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't watch any sequels or prequels.
I don't know. I'm the opposite. I think I would be like sucking in all of that I could get.
It would be like that awkward family reunion for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
When you think about it, she'd be like, "Oh my god, that was my great grandpa."
Or I think it's like 8 times great grandparents.
Right?
Maybe. I'm sure I'm wrong, but that's fine. So, for those of you that don't watch it already or don't know much about it, it is based on a book by George R.R. Martin called Fire and Blood. It's something that I read before I watched, just like everything else.
I did not.
Wanda just watched along.
I was just ready to watch it.
Which is fine. That's where we're different, but it gives us 2 different unique perspectives, I think.
Exactly. Exactly, because you have like the storyline from the book.
The annoying background information, yeah.
I know, and it was fabulous because there was at least 1 or 2 episodes that we watched together, and she gave me the entire backstory, and I was like, holy crap, I would have loved to have known that.
Now let me take my stance early and often here with people that are going to have complaints. My stance is, for those of you that haven't read the book, that want to bitch and moan that all these time skips are bullshit. Bro, they don't have that much source material to go off of here. At least for that chunk of time, it's like 2 pages. And they built an entire season out of like 2-3 pages of Fire and Blood.
Holy shit.
So for those of you bitching about that, get a clue. Number 1. Number 2, I know none of us really like it whenever it's a different actor because we loved Millie, who's on the poster behind me, as Rhaenyra Targaryen. I did too, but
We gotta watch him grow up.
we got to get to the part where she's having babies with her Uncle Daemon. And for those of you that don't watch anything Game of Thrones related, there's a lot of incest.
Lots of it.
Especially in the Targaryen family. They're kind of famous for their incestual ways.
And of course the Lannisters just kind of like followed suit. They're like, oh,
I think Cersei so badly wanted to be a Targaryen when she was like infatuated with Rhaegar that she's like, I can't have him. I'll fuck my brother Jaime. Whatever. It's cool. We're twins.
Yeah, it's fine. We share the same womb. Now we get to share a similar
Another womb. Yeah. It's weird.
It's so weird.
It's weird.
So weird. But yeah, coming from a not really having a huge backstory, but knowing enough, I was impressed. I was impressed by the storylines, and it did not catch me off guard. Like, they had to grow up at some point. It was really fast, but I was like, okay, all right, we're gonna be Rhaenyra, older Rhaenyra. All right, okay, cool.
I think one thing that they did, as somebody who's pretty pro women's rights, is showing what an old school C-section looked like, and that they would just bleed out and die.
Uh-huh.
was like so disturbing just to see it. And
a lot of the
it's graphic.
Like, the realism of childbirthing in
the sounds,
medieval times,
the views of certain things. It was so realistic. It made me glad I had a planned C-section in modern times. So that's one thing. The other thing is it's realistic storytelling for the timeline they're going for, which I really liked. Is
Yeah.
it adds, like you said, realism to the story.
Yeah.
I don't particularly know much about, I don't know, Targaryen history in general is kind of confusing because they have this whole timeline of when they were at, you know, and why am I spacing so hard? But they were in, you know, their original kingdom and Valeria, there we go, because they speak High Valyrian. So when they were in their original place and they had to move to Westeros and they became the kings and queens of Westeros because they had dragons, is the basic gist. You go, all right, well, because they have dragons. But in Game of Thrones, we learn the dragons die out eventually.
Yep.
Now, this series explains why that happened, why there went from an abundance almost of Targaryen family members to like two.
Yeah.
The two that we know, well, we know like 3 or 4 from, you know, the original series, but it's only one small family. It's not branched out like it was in House of the Dragon. So
yeah, it was very impressive to see how the family dynamic grew and fell, and you know, it was like I found that impressive. Like it was very interesting, especially when you would hear like side stories in GOT about the Targaryens.
Can I also go on my other soapbox here about GOT for one hot second? For those of you that are pissed off because us book readers are spoiling shit for you, all you have to have done is watch the original series to know what the fuck is going to happen.
Yep.
We all know how Rhaenyra dies.
Yep.
We all know how long she was queen.
Yep.
Because Joffrey, I believe, is one of the people
one
that
who,
discuss it.
He's the one who spoiled it for you.
Him, Arya, and I believe there was even Shireen, Stannis Baratheon's daughter, was reading the Dance of the Dragon story to the Onion Knight, Davos Seaworth, to teach him how to read. So
a lot of the story has already been played out.
And if you weren't paying attention to that, then
shame on you.
This is probably not the show for you to watch. Because it's very detailed. And what kind of irritates me about, I'm going to throw my husband under the bus here for a hot second, is he watches it because there's nudity. We're going to be open. That's his thing where he's like,
oh yeah,
ooh,
boobs,
butts, cool. And that's fine. But he doesn't get some of the more deep and granular references that happen in this show and that happen in Game of Thrones, because he's more interested in like the basic story and the special effects and the dragons and the, you know, and sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, well, what do you think that means when she says this particular passage? And he's like, I don't know. And I have to call her and be like, what did you think? And we rattle on for hours about one phrase. So you got to be detail oriented to enjoy fantasy.
Oh yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm so big with fantasy and I love it, and I would love to have been able to like live in it, because just knowing that this is kind of like, this is a fantasy world of historical medieval times and how society really worked, and like
it's messed up.
It's very messed up, but it everything that was coming out of there like held so true to now times.
There were a lot of references where you feel like they're actually talking about current day, where it's like you can't really call a woman a whore in the middle of a royal court and not get your head chopped off.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
Or, you know, your son is a dick and rapes a girl, and what do? You just cover it up.
Man, you're right. the current undertones are like all up in there. 'Cause
Yes.
that's probably what political families do nowadays.
Exactly.
That's
Like,
crazy.
bringing the moon tea to that girl. And I forget which episode that was. I'm pretty sure it was episode 5. 6.
I think it may be 6.
Yeah, because that was before Aegon was crowned.
Yeah.
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 But it's just like, oh, here's some money. Take this moon tea.
Forget this ever happened. Go
Forget
about
it
your
ever
merry
happened.
little way.
And sorry that happened to you, but he's
Now-
soon to be king.
Let's talk about her, the mom, just for a second.
Good
Good
Alicent.
Queen Alicent. Okay, so
Good old Alicent.
for those of you that haven't watched it yet, in the first episode, King Viserys' original wife dies in childbirth
Yes.
with that natural C-section. He chooses to save the child, not the mother, because she has clearly made her case she's not willing to have any more kids.
Well, not willing to have more kids, and this one was like more complicated than the other ones. So most likely it was a boy. At least that's what the soothsayers and seers were saying. Was
Well-
that most likely this is his son?
And how many miscarriages and stillbirths had they lived through? Was that like 5 or 6?
Oh, a lot.
And
she
Rhaenyra
was
is the only
tired.
one that had like
Survived.
survived infancy. So you go, okay, well, at what point are we expecting this woman to actually be able to
Yes.
live and not just be pregnant?
Well, it's insane how much, and not too many people, like, they all in society, they're just like, okay, guys, you need to have an heir. You need to have an heir. So of course the guys are just like, all the stress is on me. All the stress is on me. But then the women are like, you know what? I'm done pumping babies out for you because you didn't get a goddamn heir.
All we have to do is look in actual history at Henry VIII, who's the most famous monarch to be obsessed with having a male heir.
Yes.
And karma happened there too, because his male heir died at 15. So,
Uh-huh. Ha
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 ha ha ha
ha
ha.
ha.
If he would have kept Anne Boleyn around a little bit longer, maybe you would have had a son that lived longer than 15.
I mean,
when you start chopping their heads off, Henry, that's what happens.
let's go. Let's do this. You wanna start cutting some chicks' heads off just because they didn't give you one son? You know.
And they didn't know back then, like we know now, that it's up to the male's genetic material to decide the sex of the child.
Yes. So, like, having that decision placed upon you, and them going, well, there's this new way of trying to save the baby, and we can do this, but in a lot of the cases that have done this, the mother has died, or we saved the wife, and you guys could try again. Honestly, if they were going to try to save the baby and the mom lived, there would have been no way that she would have been able to have babies after this.
Right. Because the way that they cut her was savage, you guys.
Oh, hardcore.
Savage.
Hardcore. So
my stomach hurts just thinking about having this conversation. I'm like,
but
ugh.
they just don't realize how much pressure is put on the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, then, and it's like, I try to, like, imagine myself back in those times, and if I didn't have an heir, I knew that my rank was probably going to get knocked down a couple of notches. Like,
It's a lot of stress.
it is. And of course, in now times, when my sister was born, my dad, sorry Chelsea, but you already know this because I know that she watches, but like, he wanted a son. My dad wanted a son, and he didn't get a son, and my mom apologized for
Which
not
she
having a
shouldn't.
son. She did
It's
not
his
have
fault,
to.
not her fault.
Exactly. And
Hello.
this guys was 89.
Yeah.
This was in
1989.
1989.
Not 1789.
Yeah. So people just, like, when they're like, oh no, it's okay, you can try again, you can try again. No, I'm tired of trying again.
Being pregnant's hard. And I think that's one thing that the show really illustrates, that being a woman is tough. And it's something I don't think they really harped on a whole lot in the original series, but I feel like with Rhaenyra being one of only 2 queens to ever sit the Iron Throne, the second being Cersei Lannister, as we know, it gives me chills just saying there were only 2 females on the throne, but that's very
Yeah.
similar to the English throne. There
Yeah.
were only 2. There's an optional third with Eleanor of Aquitaine back in the 1200s, but we're not going to go that far.
You know, or the 9-day queen,
Yeah,
I want to say. I don't know. I've been watching.
Jane Grey
Yes.
Yes.
Because I've been watching this YouTube
or
series.
Mary Queen of Scots, or you know what?
And
It's
that-
more than 2.
There's plenty that we kind of know about.
But
There
there's
could be
2
more.
that we really only ever discuss, honestly,
Yeah.
that get like
Well, and I'm sure
internationally revered. Or
the
the
other
Elizabeth.
ones, yeah, like the other ones have been kind of like snubbed and washed away.
Well, because like
from
Bloody
history.
Mary, Elizabeth I's big sister,
Yeah,
Mary Tudor, she like didn't want to have any Protestants. Everybody had to be Catholic.
Yeah.
And so she murdered a whole bunch of people, and that's why she got the nickname Bloody Mary. So you
well,
go,
I mean,
is she worthy of our praise and adoration all these years later? I don't know.
yeah,
She is for many reasons, and that's probably a whole nother episode of ours that's down the road of why she's
Oh, yeah.
actually not evil. But the whole point is we've got 2 notable queens that everyone remembers.
yes,
Elizabeth I of the Golden Age that knew Shakespeare and had him write plays about her, ancestors. And
Yeah.
then you have Elizabeth II, who just passed this past September. And she had, what, a 70-some year reign?
yeah, the longest.
The longest ever. She beat out Queen Victoria.
Yes.
Another queen I forgot about that's
Yep.
famous.
Yep.
So,
And what else I find fascinating about this is because with every powerful family, there is always those adversaries
mhm.
that like to turn the neck. You know, they're the ones that are like, you may need to start thinking about an heir, so you might have to get married again. Well, yeah, I know you got Rhaenyra, but I got a daughter,
I got a daughter.
Otto.
Otto Hightower, the pimp of House of the Dragon. Let's be honest. He's
Just
like, I got
please
this
him.
daughter.
Just please it. But that's what I find so crazy about any type of political stance, whether it be royalty or politics. There's always something to gain. And if you have the ear of the higher up, then you're like, oh, fuck. I can do almost whatever I want. Oh,
Mhm.
so if I just hand him off or her off, then I will get some more political gain.
I'll be the grandfather of the next king.
Yeah. So, like, just all the methodical planning.
And you can even understand Otto's stance on this because in his time period, he would be stupid not to pimp out his daughter and become the grandfather of the next
Yeah.
king. Like that's a decision that you make very lightly because it's stupid to not take the opportunity.
He was totally Anne Boleyn's dad.
Because someone's daughter is going to be the next queen.
Yeah.
So it might as well be his, right?
And again,
It's still gross
my
by today's standards.
my complete imagination, if I was born in that time, of course, my economic status would not be at that level, but because my parents would probably be farmers and I would just marry another farmer.
Mine would have been a woodworker. I mean, it's in the name, so there you go.
But imagining your own family member going, okay, now you need to go to court. You're of age. Go and mingle. Okay, so
Here's a list of men I want you to flirt with
So
in order that you
here-
should flirt with them.
yes, here are these 50-year-olds who have taken a shine to you. They've come to me like during council meetings and stuff and said they've taken a shine to you.
Okay, so can I, as a woman with a 23-year age difference from my husband, him being the older, I still find that really appalling.
Yes,
Because mine was a choice to be with
exactly.
someone older, but like to be forced into the arms of someone that's older
Yes,
than your grandfather
because
back in those days.
You're getting
Ooh.
the biggest guilt trip of your life going, if you don't do this for our family, we may lose sight from the king and we may become destitute.
And they were either expected to marry someone above their station that was super old or super creepy, or they had to become a mistress of somebody so that
Yes.
an older sibling could be pushed in front of the king as either another advisor and a boy sibling, or as a potential wife for the king.
It blows my mind, and having to play the cat and mouse game.
Oh, you like me, don't you?
Or, like, hi, I know that your wife just died, but do you mind if I sit here and read a book with you while you play with your Legos?
And that was exactly how Alicent and Viserys fell in love. That's their love story. They both like Legos.
See, this is why Sean likes when I give him play-by-plays, because I make it so dumbed down.
You have to. You have to.
Because you're just like, okay, well, yeah, so, yeah, I'll marry you.
Also, what's funny is the boy thinks he's old enough to watch shows like this with me. And I'm like, listen.
He has no idea.
Listen, I don't think he could handle either the graphic gore or the graphic other things that happen. We'll put it like that.
Well, like
I told him when he's 18, which is probably appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to imagine him watching the
we were watching
Sansa
Ginny and Georgia on Netflix, and he told me there were too many sexy scenes in there for them.
Oh my God.
And it's a Netflix show. You guys, there was like maybe 2, and there was maybe a butt.
Yeah.
And it was all under a sheet, Amish style. And like, what the hell?
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine him watching the Sansa wedding night scene.
I don't think he could.
No.
It was hard for
I couldn't
most
even
people.
Do it. I was so sick to my stomach, I had to go to the bathroom.
Honestly, on rewatches, I fast forward through that scene.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I can't. And it's very scary how vivid I still remember it.
Yeah. Same.
Like thinking
you
about
said it and I could just see it happening in my head.
Oh. So it is just it's horrible. Which I'm happy that with House of the Dragons, they haven't done that.
It's inferred in some scenes, like the one with the moon tea and Aegon, but like really there's nothing, they don't show anything graphic that's that disturbing. Now,
yeah, hardcore
in that way anyway.
In that way. Now the birthing scenes, yes.
Very graphic, but it's part of life. It's like,
but it's a part of life.
No matter if you're a chick or a dude, you're either going to be the person helping your chick give birth, or girl on girl, your wife, if you're a chick, doesn't matter. We're an all-inclusive podcast, so whatever you're married to. And if you're, a female, you're either going to be the one doing it or the one supporting.
Yep.
You might even be there for a friend, which I don't know if, I love all my friends, but I don't know if I love any of them enough to be in the birthing room with them.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
That's traumatic, y'all.
Okay. With that all aside, and of course, with having a lot of incest with the Targaryens, because they want to keep their bloodline pure.
Oh yeah, which Alicent was disgusted by at first, and then married her oldest son to her oldest daughter.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Sorry. I know. I found that very condescending. But there's a lot of stuff in here that is very condescending. I'm like, you are doing the exact same thing that you were trying to stop back in the day. Feet pics, Alicent.
Oh my God.
Them feets.
Getting your little tootsies out so that the creeper that you're
the first OnlyFans.
Oh my God, she was the first OnlyFans. Oh, Alicent.
But
how the mighty have fallen.
Oh my God. And realizing that through history, so many insane royal families or high-standing families kept it within the family.
Oh my God. I don't remember what year it was, but it's in the early, probably I would guess maybe 1200s, 1300s. They were so inbred that they had these creepy big noses.
Well, and
the weird jaws.
Yeah. Yes.
Because incest breeds gross things genetically, you guys. That's the
when
point.
You think about it, you're sharing the same DNA.
Well, even Prince Philip and Elizabeth I were cousins. Yes. I don't know if it was first or second cousins.
It's crazy on how much historical facts are in the show.
Mm-hmm. And they tied into real families that we remember from history that you can look back and go, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff. Like I love just getting on YouTube and going down that rabbit hole of
Royal
historical
families,
facts.
I swear to God, were like the original messy Maury Povich show families.
Oh.
Even though they were like the highest ranking at the time.
Yeah.
The shit that you read about. And honestly, like the Targaryens are basically a symbol of that time period and those people. And you think, okay, so it was common for them to marry a sister or a cousin.
Yep.
And then everyone freaked out when Rhaenyra married her uncle Daemon after Laenor died.
I know. What is so funny is that I had such a hard time with Cersei and her brother.
And Jaime, obviously.
And Jaime.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was very hard. But this one, I'm like rooting for it.
And you know what's crazy?
I'm like, it's an uncle and a niece kind of thing. It's fine. It's
That's
like brother
far
and
enough
sister.
apart. Hello. That is what Game of Thrones has done to us, where we're like, it's far enough
It's
apart.
far
They're
enough
not
apart.
siblings.
That's enough. They're not siblings. They're,
fine.
it's fine.
Everything's fine. But you're like rooting for her to be with Daemon, like almost the entire series, I feel like.
Yeah.
And he kind of flirts with her. And how many of these problems in this show would have been solved if Viserys would have just married her off to him when he asked for her?
Uh-huh. Well, like, I don't know. I feel like, what was the king's name? What was his name?
Viserys?
Yes, Viserys. I feel like he kind of wanted to get out of that.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of wanted to break the cycle.
And then
But she didn't.
she just drew us back in.
She was just like, you know what? I can't fight the feels. I can't, Dad. I can't fight the feels.
He's so sexy. And I gotta tell you guys, as a Doctor Who fan, watching Matt Smith be sexy and creepy and like a gray character like that has been so weird. Because it's not the character he is as the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who. Where it's like he's like this like little boy character where he's like very like excitable and happy and fun, and then you get this character who for the first few episodes it was a very hard transition for me as a Whovian who also loves Game of Thrones. I'm like, but he's so good of an actor that he convinced me.
He is. I was extremely impressed, and Patty's performance as Viserys.
Oh my God. If he doesn't get like all the awards.
Phenomenal.
Especially towards the end when he was
dying. Towards
dying.
the end, yes.
And he had all those prosthetics and had to like limp and stuff. And it was so sad that you go, oh shit. Yeah. Okay, what does that take emotionally as an actor to get to that place, to be able to be that convincing?
Yeah, that takes some serious method acting.
I'm not a method actor. I don't know if I could be that. I'd have to be like the extra dancing with like Laenor's gay lover. Like that would be my part in the whole show because like, I could do that.
I love doing method acting just because I pull so much from what I've seen from other people that if I was on set, I would have to be that person and you would have to like avoid me. As that person. and of course, like backstage, getting ready for the performance, I start slipping into that character, but not too crazy. But I mean, I've seen crazier.
You're not that bad. I've acted with her. She's not that bad. There's much worse out there.
I've had really good parts to be able to do that. I haven't had any like super serious part.
I don't know. I think the hardest role other than his would be Alicent's. It wouldn't be Rhaenyra's because let me I'm not going on an Alicent defense rant here at all. She's a terrible person. She just is. But is she a terrible person for what we always talk about, nature versus nurture, because of her dad and how he raised her?
Yeah.
Or is she a terrible person just because that's who she was supposed to be?
Nope.
You know what I mean?
It is all about her dad, man. She like retaliated. She was like, you know what? Fuck this all.
And, you know, honestly, she has some redeeming moments towards the end of that first season where you start to feel for her as a person, and that she was forced to, let's be honest, have sex with an old man to create more heirs.
Yes.
And she was like consistently pregnant for how many years because they had 4 kids together.
I mean,
lived.
She was back to back.
Yeah. It was like baby, 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 baby. And you could tell by a lot of young Alicent scenes that she wasn't comfortable being a mother.
Well, yeah, she was very disconnected, and you could tell that she was extremely disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And almost jealous of Rhaenyra. And
extremely.
And
because she could do what she wants, and I'm trapped married to this old man giving out babies all the time.
Yeah, and then it's like, it's almost like the roles kind of reversed when they got older, where she's like, now I have the kids that are like, she comes to a realization that, oh, my dad was right. I have reign of the throne here.
Now, I can't wait until we see how her end happens.
Oh my god,
dude, I'm so excited.
Oh,
we're not going to give that spoiler until next episode, you guys. What happens to Alicent?
Yes, you've had enough of our little spiel,
and we're going to have some of our picks for favorite and least favorite things. But we're going to start on this episode. Who is your most favorite character? On a good note.
Oh yeah, on a good note, my favorite character. Holy cow. I think GOT ruined that for me.
You can give me top 3 if it's easier for you.
Well, Rhaenyra, of course. I like her. Daemon. I like Daemon.
Mm-hmm.
What would be my third? I don't know. I don't. Wow, that's a tough one. Who would be my third one? Oh my god. Viserys.
Yeah.
I liked him.
He was a little wishy-washy at times, but when it mattered, that motherfucker stood up for his family. Like he was there.
That's what I really liked. And it's like when his family, like when they were older and like she had kids, when Rhaenyra had kids, he just looked like a proud, like, dad / grandpa / uncle.
Happy old man. Just a happy old man.
Happy that his whole family was with him.
And he died thinking that's how they were going to stay, which was really kind of bittersweet, I think.
Yeah, because someone misunderstood dying
because she's
words.
Dumb. That's fine. We'll get into that next time, guys. So I think my top 3 is going to have to start with Daemon because he's a very morally gray character, and I think Martin does a good job of writing since he wrote a few of these episodes or helped write.
Oh yeah.
He does gray characters like no one else. Like it's just you love to hate him, but you love him, but you hate him a little bit, and he's just so interesting when he's on screen. He steals every scene.
How I described him to like some people, he's always like 3 moves ahead of anybody in a chess game.
Yeah.
He's already figured out checkmate.
Yep.
He's just waiting for it to all unfold.
He's waiting for his plans to happen.
You know, so he that whole standing back and being like that methodical watch.
Well, and as a younger sibling, because I know you're the oldest, but I'm a younger sibling. I'm the baby in my family. So watching the baby go, no, fuck you. I don't need your help. I'm going to win this war right now in this second just so I don't have to get my older siblings fucking help. And then he fucking murders all these people just to be able to go home. I was like, I felt that so hard as a younger sibling. I'm like, I've been that person. I refuse for the help.
I feel like Viserys.
Where you're like, oh my God.
So many times I'm like, oh, look at my family. They're all together. Oh, now they're not. Okay.
I think the second one for me, and this is going to be controversial, is Rhaenys, the aunt.
Okay.
The queen that never was.
How did I forget her?
Not because of her dragon scene, but because of I think she genuinely wants Rhaenyra to be queen because she wasn't allowed to be. And it's very much the older aunt bringing up the younger niece.
And I think that's why she was so hard on her.
Yeah.
Is
100%.
To give her that hard coding that she is going to need.
She's the older
as a ruler,
matron of the family that is very protective of her family, and she very much loves her cousin Viserys, and she loves her kids and her husband and her family, and she's kind of a fucking badass too.
She is.
The way that she
And then
goes
that
out,
dragon scene, that was a cherry on top.
and she had all the power in that scene and chose
Yes.
not to kill anybody.
Yes, that's why I like stood up.
That's
and I
a
was like,
power move.
yes, yes.
I don't care what you say. That is a power move. That is a baller. I am better than you move that has to be
Look
respected.
at me. I have all the power right now, and I can control it.
I could kill you, but I'm
what
not
can
rude
you
like
do?
you.
What can you do?
Try me.
What?
All right, so Rhaenyra's in my top 3, but I have to give an honorable mention, and we'll talk a lot about Rhaenyra next episode, but
Yeah.
an honorable mention to Helena, the second child of Alicent and Viserys.
Oh, bless her heart.
She must be saved at all costs. I know she's gonna die. I know what's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
read it, but she is so fucking genuinely sweet and so adorable in every
And
one
you
of her
can
scenes.
tell that she loves Aemon so much more
Than her husband,
than her husband.
who's probably nicer to her.
Well, and there are some speculations that the kids might be Aemon's.
The other brother. She actually
Yeah.
has 3 brothers, but we haven't seen the baby.
I know we
yet.
haven't seen the baby, but that's also the same with Rhaenyra's kids.
Yeah, because we haven't seen Joffrey since the birth scene
Yeah,
of the strong boys.
of the strong boys, they're pretty strong nephews.
The strong boys. So, well, we will see you guys next time for more House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. God damn it, you're not gonna do it.
Stop! Stop!
Why won't you stop?